We have not represented our own ideas. We have not had anyone to represent our own ideas to us. The only place we have learned about how to be a woman or how a man is to be a man is on television. We haven't had that kind of a chance to study ourselves. The white woman has been the only woman we have had an opportunity to study every day of our life, on television, in every magazine we ever picked up, in every newspaper, on every radio. She's been the only model we have had. And if we think that that's not important, then we need to, look at that again. We have studied that, and we have made up and came up with requirements that the white people have set for us for our man. And if he cannot come up to those requirements, then we have decided that he is impotent and unable to be our man because he's disqualified, because he does not qualify by the standards that the white people have set up. We think a good, successful relationship is one where everything goes our way. The first time it stops going our way, then we got a serious problem. We want our man to do everything we tell him to do, but we don't want to do anything he tells us to do. Yeah, it's hard language. And all of our so-called educated class together have never come up with an agenda that brought the people together to try to improve their condition like the Black Man's Guide. Not a one of them have ever had a program that got all of the black people talking, got all of them out. Made everybody decide to make a comment, whether they wanted to or not. People are compelled to testify all over the country. I can't walk the street. See, we've never been examined, as I said. In the breakdown of every relationship, each party in the relationship shares 1/2 the responsibility. That's 50% of the responsibility. So yes, the black man is 50% responsible for the breakdown of our relationships. And we are the other 50% half responsible for the breakdown of our relationships. And I ask black women, if you do not want to accept 50% of the responsibility, what percentage do you accept, and how does that behavior manifest? And I guarantee you it's already in my book. Because this lists the things that we do. We've just never seen it in print. We've never had it out front. We've never been busted. But now we have the equality we've been crying for. They're busted and so are we. I teach that slavery tampered with nature. When I say that slavery tampered with nature, I mean that a major rite of passage for every male mammal is to provide and protect for a female and her young. Now certainly we know that the black man has been denied that opportunity. He has not been allowed to qualify to protect his woman or provide for them. They have told us that the only provision that the black man is qualified to give us is one of money. And we have made finance the major focus of our relationships with them. We have made the one thing that most of them don't even have be the criteria. We have been taught that if they do not give us money, that we are not to even allow them to be a father to their child. We have been taught that if he does not give us money, then he is not qualified to tell us what to do. We have been taught that if he does not give us money, that he doesn't have any rights in the home. It's whoever is making the money who has the rights. That's not our system. The black man provides more in a black home than just financial support. He provides direction, guidance, gratification, fulfillment, and discipline for our children. Those are the principles that are missing in our home today, which is why our children are savage in the streets. We see those children out there sometimes acting wild and uncivilized and disrespectful because they don't respect anyone, because we didn't teach them any respect. We didn't know how. And a lot of times we look at them and we say, yeah, they're out there doing this, and we act like that they dropped down out of the sky. But those are our children. We birthed them up out of our womb. They belong to us. And we are responsible for them. And for every child that's out there out of control, disrespectful, ignorant, and uneducated, they have a black mother somewhere who failed to do her job, and a black father who failed to do his. It is not the responsibility, It is not the responsibility of the American government to raise our children. It is not the responsibility of the American government to support our women. And it certainly is not the responsibility of the American government to hold our man down.
Because Willie Lynch, 300 years ago, planned on turning nature around so that the woman would be the man. And we would be the dependent ones standing behind her and very afraid. Now watch how Willie did this. He said, right in Virginia, up the road, he said, I got a foolproof idea that if you do this, the Negroes will never be able to unite for 300 to 1,000 years.
Listen. Lay it out, minister. Lay it out.
And in a few years, Willie Lynch will have delivered that speech 300 years ago. And here's the way it went. He said, I take my slaves and I look at their differences and I multiply them. I make their differences bigger. Start with age and turn the young against the old and the old against the young. Still going on. Then he said, then you deal with color.
Yeah, that's right. Come on.
When all the slaves came, they were all jet black. But he said, you put your sperm in one of the black women, she produced a brownish baby.
Come on, teach.
Then you add a little more of us and you put a lighter color until you get one that can pass. And then you put them all against each other. Then you take hair, coarse hair, fine hair, and you divide them that way. Then you take the size of the plantation that one slave is on and you make them fight because my boss got a bigger plantation than your boss. Then you take north against south, east against west. Then you deal with status on the plantation, a field nigger and a house nigger and a foreman, a driver man, and you make them all hate each other. And then he said, you got to reverse the natural tendency of the black woman to depend on the black man. See, as African people, what you read in the New Testament, God is the head of man, man the head of woman, woman the head of the child. That's the natural order. Willie Lynch said, let's reverse it. Turn the woman away from depending on the man and make her depend on us. She must find no black man to trust, trust only us. You gotta study that woman. And if you can get her like a horse when you're breaking it to eat out of your hand, then she'll make her children and break them for us.
We don't have to be ashamed that we have a problem. We don't have to be ashamed to know that it is related to slavery, because all of our problems are related to slavery. And I know that that seems to be some old hat issue, and everybody want me to stop talking about that. Nobody would tell the Japanese woman to forget about the fact that during World War II, the white man interned her family, took all of their personal possessions. Nobody would tell her to forget about that. Nobody would tell the Indian woman, forget about the fact that the white man came over here and took your country and put you and your babies out on the reservation. And nobody would dare to tell the Jewish woman to forget about the Holocaust, so why I got to forget about slavery? See, the Japanese and the Indian and the Jewish woman got behind their men, and they had some very terrible histories also. But because they got behind their men and supported them and worked with them, those people are successful today. They own property, they have businesses, They got great land here and abroad. You know, they have stocks, bonds, whatever America has to offer. They own part of that. They are in a position to make decisions because they have some ownership. It's only been the black man and the black woman who didn't reunite after a terrible time. And so today we are splintered. We don't have very much. We practice envy and jealousy. You know, they taught us a lot of bad habits that we practice against each other. If we practiced everything we practice against each other, against the white man, they'd have been killed out of America. Most of that stuff we reserve for our own kind, and that's wrong. We have had that rumor that we are the backbone of the black nation because it has served to make us think we were better than the black man. We have walked around and wore that as some kind of a sacred garment. And our men have had to struggle up under the already preconceived notion that they wasn't no good. We have always heard that the black man leaves us. He walks out on us. He don't love his children. He won't take care of his family. He beat his women. He do a lot of horrible things. This book goes back to try to examine what are some of the possible contributing causes. What happened before he left? What happened? Something happened. The black man is just not bad by nature. The brothers love their children as much as any other man. Every man loves his baby. They keep wanting to tell us that our man don't even love his children. He's not a mother, though. He's a father. He's not going to have the same kind of connection to the cub that we have. We can't expect that. We keep wanting the man to act like a woman. He can't act like no woman, praise be to Allah. I wrote the book so that the brothers would understand what's going on, because most of what we charge them with is that he can't, quote, handle us. He can't handle me. They haven't known what they were handling. They didn't have that information. The book is really a book that puts the black man on point because it tells him what he has allowed to happen to his woman and his children. And he can never again say he didn't know what was going on, because I have told him.
Man is the head of woman, woman the head of the children, God the head of the man. Now, a man can't be the head of a woman unless he allows God to be his head. That's the divine order of things. Now, listen. As men, we want our women to honor us, respect us, obey us. And they say, come on, man, are you kidding? If we don't show our wives our obedience to God, then we have no right to expect from them what we are not giving to our Creator. Now, I'm just about where I want to be. So fallen Adam, weak father, cohabits with Eve. And her first child was Cain. Her second child was Abel. Now we have children, those of us who are fathers. Children look up to us. They, I guess, at least they want to. And if as a good father, like Pastor T.L. Barrett, a good mother like Sister Cleo Barrett, the children look up to Mama and Dad. You are the first line of God's intervention in the life of a child. A man and a woman, husband and a wife, you are God's first representatives. But the child will one day outgrow mama. Now watch this. Mother, your nurturing is for a season. For a season. The child comes, nurses from your breast, you give it strength, you feed it, you teach it. At a certain age, you see the child kind of, I don't know what all that means, but I guess it means they're kind of growing up some. And then when you tell it, now listen, child, let me tell you something. It's either my way or the highway. Then the child looks at you and say, well, wait a minute, Mom. Wait a minute, Dad, you know, you taught me. You gave me values. I can think now. Why don't you treat me as a thinking person rather than you becoming a dictator? And then you force me, if you don't respect my growth, to rebel against you. So a boy child will grow so far with mama. Mama is to nurture child to a certain stage and turn it over to a father. But who is mama gonna turn the child over to if there's no father around, and if the father doesn't have the wherewithal to further that child when mama's nurturing days are over? So you can see, brothers and sisters, we're living in a heck of an existence because Satan now has made it impossible for one man, unless he's very, very clever or wise, to make enough income to prepare a decent way of life for the family. If there's a man in the house, he's working, hopefully. If there's a woman in the house with the man, she's working too. So when the man is working, the woman is working, who's working with the children? So what Satan has done, and this is very clever, he pulled you out of the house, sister. Most women don't know how to make a home no more. Uh-oh, I'm stepping on some toes. Good, I hope you feel it. You know how to look pretty to catch a man, but you don't know what to do to keep a man. And that's why you are sad all the days of your life, because McDonald's has been your cook. Wendy's and Burger King and Taco Bell. But grandmama knew how to keep a man. By nature, God gave man power and dominion. Then men cannot be a man unless he has power in order to exercise dominion. Yes, sir. That's the nature of every man. And whether you agree with me or not, in his nature, he knows he's supposed to have some power. Yes, sir. And he knows he's supposed to have rule, especially in his own house. And therefore, if he does not have the knowledge of how to establish his rule, yes, sir, and the woman see him weak and ineffective, then she look at him and say, I ain't bowing down to this. I ain't gonna respect this. Why, I control him. Anytime I want him to do something, I know what to do for him. So it becomes a game that we play. You use your nature as a woman to put him in a condition where you can manipulate him and guide him around by his nose. So the Bible said, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. That's not the nature in which God created this thing to go. And she can't respect no man that she rules. I'm going to say that again. She cannot respect any man that she rules because her dominion is over children. That's right. And when she rules you, you become her child. And that's why, take it or leave it, and that's why your favorite word is that MF word, because she's your mother instead of your wife. You wasn't looking for a wife because when you look for a wife, you're looking to carry out a responsibility and a sacred duty. But when you're looking for a mother, you're looking for somebody to nurture you and take you by the hand and stroke you and do all kind of childish things to comfort a sniveling, crying little black baby. And that's why adultery is in the house of the black man. That's why our women don't stay in our bed. Anybody's bed will do, because she's still on the hunt, not for Red October, but for a black man in September. The nature of the black man, the nature of all men, is to multiply, not sexually. I mean, that's part of it. But, you know, that's so academic, you know what I mean? You don't have to have a PhD degree to do that kind of multiply. But when you say multiply, you have a multiplier, a multiplicand, and a product. God said multiply, replenish the earth. He's telling man, look at what I put in you. Look at what I put around you. Yeah. You are the multiplier. This is the multiplicand. Now bring you up a product. That's the nature of man. He's to multiply. Yes, sir. He's to be a producer. And in productivity, he finds expression for the gifts of God that are within his being. And in finding the gifts of God within his being by becoming productive, he then glorifies his creator. Yes, sir. Man is the glory of God. Yeah. But if man is not productive of good and of righteous civilization, what does he need a woman for? That's our problem. We want a woman, but we don't want to know how to produce. and you're taking fire into your bosom when you want a woman, but you don't want to know how to become productive. Because whether she understands it or not, she's looking for you to be productive. Her nature is to help you if you're doing something, but she can't help you to do nothing. So if you're doing nothing, don't bother with a woman, because you're taking fire into your bosom. She'll burn you in the night and burn you in the day. Come on, baby, light my fire. She'll light it all right. Because a non-productive man, I don't care how handsome you look, you become ugly to your mate. Yes, sir. Listen now. That's your nature. What is her nature? In the Bible, God says he created the woman from the man to be the help meet. Not M-E-A-T. But the M-E-E-T. Yeah, what that mean? Help me. Help me. It means that God has given man a duty, a responsibility to become a producer. You don't produce without help, and you can't find a better helper to do anything in this world than a woman who believes in her man. Now, what did God put in you? See, your nature is to nurture, and your nature is to comfort and console. So the Quran says, in the woman he should find peace and quiet of mind. Not quiet of body, but quiet of mind. How do you rest his mind, sister? When that man is productive when he comes home, he needs to rest and draw strength again to go back and produce some more. So God gives him a woman who knows how to comfort and console, and look, not only knows how, happy to do it because he's so productive. Here comes that man of mine. Here he comes. Get it all ready for him because he's coming on home. Wait a minute, children. I got to get pretty for my man. He's coming home. She ain't coming to the door looking like the wreck of the Hesperus. She get herself together, perfume herself. When he gets up to the gate, he can smell the biscuits in the oven. You say, wait a minute. I'm a professional woman. And you're a failure. Don't tell me nothing about your profession. You're a failure if you can't keep a man. No profession can make you happy. No profession. Call yourself whatever the hell you want to. If there ain't a man in your life to make you happy, your profession can never do for you what God made man to do for you. All right. Now look here. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that the only heaven for man is woman. I'm going to say that again. Go ahead. You want to go to heaven? Heaven ain't where you go sit down. You got to work your way to heaven. You got to earn your way to heaven. You got to do something so that heaven can reward you and bless you. A woman is a blessing to a man, but she's a cursing to a non-productive fool that is masquerading in the garments of a man.